Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, I can't hear anything, so I just got told that I should start with my presentation. Um, Thanks, first of all, to Waves Festival for inviting me, for having me here, and being able to talk about a very important topic, I feel. My name is Marcus. I'm the founder and CEO of gigmit. Gigmit is in Europe the largest online booking platform based on its artists and promoters. To start with, I would like to give you a little bit of an update and background information about us, and then look forward to dive into the future and a fruitful discussion afterwards. So I've prepared a quick presentation to guide you through the topic a little bit, but again, I'm more than happy to have a nice discussion and answer your questions about it. So first of all, 1 second. So first of all, some background information about gigmit. I've been working as a promoter myself for club shows and festivals, and also as an artist manager. And before launching gigmit, I already felt there's a huge problem between artists and promoters to really get on stage. And there's a very kind of old fashioned technology in use in that sense. And I felt at the time that there should be some sort of technology supporting creative people, like-minded people, in order to make their bookings as smart as possible and as easy as possible. So since the foundation of gigmit, um, our aim has always been working on a technology that supports creative people in order to focus on their creations or on the event, and not on the whole management and booking aspect. We've been quite successful in the last years and have been growing to a community of over 125,000 bands and DJs, over 20,000 festivals and venues that are accessible through our online platform. And we have published more than 70,000 gigs for artists. Obviously, this is not representing the whole live music ecosystem, and we are really focusing on increasing all these numbers and working heavily on finding as many opportunities as possible for artists, and also make it very easy to get on stage. How does gigmit work in general? On the artist side, you can create a profile. This profile is very much optimized for the live music industry. We have been together with a lot of promoters, hundreds of promoters, in order to identify which information is most important for them in order to make a booking decision. So we gathered all this knowledge in the artist page and structured it that way that on one single page you have all the information that are very important for a promoter in order to make a decision. This artist page is completely free, and I also recommend to use it outside of the gigmit sphere or gigmit platform to share it with promoters, since we feel the best business card you can have as an artist or artist representative. On the other hand, we have the possibility for promoters like festivals, venues, and so on to log into our platform and open up calls. We call those gigs. And if you're specifically looking for artists at a certain date with certain conditions in a certain genre. And on the other hand, you also have the possibility to browse through our artist database and discover artists through that. And I will get to this topic later on. We cover the whole process from A to Z, so including contracts and everything, to really take the stress out of the booking and make all this kind of management and dealings around very simple. But we identified that this is not all, and this is only tackling this. For example, these 70,000 opportunities that have been on gigmit are only a small percentage of what's out there. So since a few years, we've been working on a second strength to help artists getting in touch with venues and festivals very, very quick and easy. And the result is our festival and venue database that we improved a lot in the recent month. There you can find a lot of venues and festivals and filter them by genres and by territory and reach out to them directly. It's really, really simple and kind of the best approach if you are lacking of contacts in certain territories and you want to focus on them. But now the very important question is, how can this kind of be connected with the topic that is also raised in this session, which is data. And what we believe, you have to say, and what we've seen in the last years, in the last 8 years running gigmit, is that there are a lot of events, and especially for our emerging artists, a lot of events that have like maybe 20, 30 people in front of the stage and are not in any way successful financially. And we believe that there must be kind of a different approach to promoting artists and to playing live shows, and especially when it comes to making decisions where to play and who to reach out to. So this is a very important topic. And the question is, how can we change that? How can we build more successful events that make sense financially and artistically for all the stakeholders involved in a concert? And there is a huge change that has happened in the last years that we identified, and this is mainly the success of music streaming and the way how music is consumed from the audience is totally has been like shifted towards music streaming. And with that, we have seen obvious changes in the recorded music industry because that's kind of the most connected industry, but we haven't seen that many changes on the live side. But we felt, but there's a huge opportunity to use this change in order to better identify where do I have concert goers when it comes to a live show. And there's an obvious connection between listeners that you can now identify in an area that you couldn't ever before, because CD sales were not reported as well, that you could like really identify which person is behind it and where does this person live. And that changed dramatically with streaming, and we felt, okay, there has to be some sort of connection to live events. And but we also identified there's a lot of progress and services and platforms offering insights of data towards the artist directly. There are services that offer insights on a more global scale, but when it comes to live events, it doesn't make really sense because you need local information. For example, an artist that is huge in the US but doesn't have any fans in Vienna, it doesn't make sense to promote this artist in Vienna. But if you only have a look at the overall numbers, you might be you might think, okay, it's totally worth it. So it's very important to look into data and numbers that are on a local basis, and we haven't found any resource where you actually could do that. So the data is there, which is great, but it's not accessible, and it's especially not accessible for promoters for the venues and festivals, which is why we were working on the last years changing that and actually making it more transparent and more accessible for all the stakeholders in an event, which is why we developed the fan charts that you can see here. I'm gonna show you a little bit how this works. So let's start with an artist page. This is an example of an artist page on gigmit. Again, this is very much developed based on promoters' perspectives and promoters' point of view when it comes to make a booking decision. And as you can see, a visual impression and music and, for example, where an artist played before still is very important, and it's, I feel, the most important, but it should be connected to the data in order to really build a successful event or ensure that an event is selling well. And that's why we included a new module in our artist page, which is the Fan Insights module. And there you can see Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube is now like in a test phase. So there will be also YouTube fan data available, and you can see different data points. And we analyzed what is most important to like connect to an event or in connection with an event. So, for example, it's not just about listeners, because listeners could also be the outcome of a successful playlist in a certain area, but nobody knows really about the artist or the upcoming gigs. So nobody would necessarily buy a ticket. So followers on Spotify are really important in that sense. And on Facebook, it's also not just about the overall fan numbers. It's also about social engagement. And what we identified is really important is looking at certain trends, like looking how this data developed over time, and understanding better if the artist is actually growing or if all these numbers are tend to go down. So you have like a very granular kind of set of data that you can see from every artist. On the other hand, we also did want to make it too difficult, since we all understand and know that no promoter or nobody in the industry is really a data scientist, and we don't need hundreds of dashboards and data sets to analyze. So we really focused on the most important ones, and we access them through a connect. So once on the artist side or manager side or agent side, depending on who represents the artist, you connect your services, you connect Facebook and Spotify and YouTube, and through these connects, we identify the artist and the data behind, and able to show it. But this is like only on artist page. So to get there and to really discover an artist, we felt, okay, there must be more to that, and that's why we developed a new kind of discovery approach for promoters to better understand which artists are actually really interesting to look at in my area. And we launched that feature 2 days ago, so it's very, very fresh, and I'm really excited to talk about this a little bit more, which is called our fan charts feature. It's basically a search or list that shows you artists and their local data based on a city. So you have here on the top, you have a city. We, on this example, just took a screenshot here of Berlin, and then you are able to filter by the most Facebook fans or by Spotify listeners. You can change that here. You can also change like time frames and genre and so on in the filter bar. And what's really interesting here is that these numbers that are shown and the progress of these numbers are totally local. So they are based, this is now about artists in Berlin. You can change the city, and we can look into Vienna, for example, and then identify which artists are have the most fans and listeners in Vienna, and how does this how has this kind of been developed and progressed in the last month. And on that basis, you can really identify which artists are actually at which kind of level. You can benchmark it with other artists, and on that basis, yeah, making like really trying to understand how big is an artist when it comes to booking decision. So this is it. This is what I wanted to share. For us, it's the starting point. We are at very early stages, but we also haven't identified anybody out there who's working on this topic for the live music industry. So we are very excited to get your feedback. It's totally free to use, by the way. It's a tool that we want to work with you guys using it and getting your feedback and improving it constantly. We are definitely working on adding more data sources into this feature, and we are really happy for any sort of exchange and feedback and development in the future. So I'm looking forward to get your feedback about it. You can always send me an email, but also if you have any questions right now, I'm super happy to speak about it a little bit more and answer your questions.
Is that? Yeah. Thank you, Marcus. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Super.
Okay,
Hi.
finally. Thank you very much. Are there any questions here in the room? Everything clear? All right, it seems there are no questions, Marcus.
That shows me that I touched everything, probably.
Probably.
But then,
I have a small question concerning costs. As a musician, I can register for free on the platform, right? As a promoter?
that's correct. Like the whole platform is free of charge. We don't have any commission on bookings. We don't charge anything to create a profile and so on. We do have a pro tier on gigmit, for example, as in from the artist side. If you want to have like a high visibility and get more insights, you can upgrade to pro, which is 19 euro per month and is a 12-month contract. But all the features I explained are for free, and you can definitely try it out for free. And that's what we also want to achieve, that you play around with it and make use of it without any kind of costs involved. And if you feel okay, that totally makes sense, and you want to increase your kind of usage and visibility, then you can always upgrade to pro.
Yeah, and another question. With the like the local search that you showed, where I can check what fans in my area, what people in my area, in my city are listening to, it shows bands from all over the world, right? I mean, from those who are registered, obviously. But can I also look for bands that are from my area as well?
Well, that is a kind of feature that we still would need to implement. You can in the artist search look or find bands from your area. At the moment, you can't filter the area in connection to the fan insights. So what you can look for at the moment is, on one side, okay, which artist does have the most fans or listeners in my area, or which artist is from my area. So that's kind of the two strengths.
Okay, but not
We
connected
aim to
yet.
combine that in the
Yeah.
future.
Okay. Okay, cool. That would be cool. That would be interesting for me as well, personally. And are there any questions now? Nope. Well, I'm out of questions as well. So thank you very much, Marcus.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. And yeah, sorry that I couldn't hear in the beginning. There were some technical problems.
I don't think it's your fault. It's all right. No worries. Okay, thank you. And thank you for everyone who was listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.